Hello everyone, this is Wil Ussery from Exceptional Notary Group. I wanted to provide a short video on how to use the business spreadsheet, as most people are visual and will go right to the video before reading the instructions. With that said, I have provided you with an instructions tab, an invoices tab, January through December month tabs, and also a year-to-date roll-up tab. I will go over each tab as we progress through this video. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. On this spreadsheet here, I wanted to point out that you do need to enter your end of year miles, and we'll go over that a little bit later when we get to this particular year-to-date roll-up tab. But that's something that I'll go over with you when we get to that section of the video. Here we have all the options that will be gathered on your year-to-date tab, total year-to-date income, notarial income, expenses year-to-date, etc. And we'll come back to this tab and go over it in a little bit more detail later in the video. Here, I just wanted to show you some of the charts that we'll have on the year-to-date tab also, just to give you a nice visual representation of what's going to be gathered on each tab as we move through the spreadsheet. In this section here, I have the total miles year-to-date, and also what you'll be capturing as we enter each of your mileage data on the monthly tabs. All right, so we're back at the instructions tab, and I'm going to scroll through this particular tab and give you a chance to pause the video and read through each section of the instructions tab. And I implore you to go ahead and print this out before you actually start using the spreadsheet, because it does have some pretty detailed information on how you should gather your data and also enter your data in the spreadsheet. So we'll give you a moment to look at this, and I'll just keep quiet for a moment. All right, so I'm going to scroll on back up to the top of the instructions tab, and now we're going to go over to the invoices tab. And I provided each user with an option to track outstanding invoices. You can put in the customer name, customer address, invoice amount, invoices paid, and also the paid date. And at some point, you're more than likely going to want to filter this spreadsheet to show you outstanding invoices that have not been paid. So if we go up to the invoice paid tab, you'll see there's a data validation tool, and if you select all and click on no, and then it will show you all the invoices that you have not received any payment for. And if we scroll down to the bottom of the spreadsheet, it will give you a calculation of all the invoices that have not been paid. And also it will give you an idea of the total amount of invoices that you should have been paid and what is still outstanding, and the variance between those two values. If we scroll back up, you can also filter this tab to show you invoices that have been paid. So if we deselect no and select yes, it will allow you to give you a snapshot of all invoices that have been paid, and if you wanted to print this out, you can do that at this time. It shows you at the bottom again, the total amount of invoices paid against the total invoices outstanding, and that variance between those two values. You always want to go back to select all to put your spreadsheet back to the state that you came to it in. Another option is you may want to filter the spreadsheet to show you specific vendors. For example, if you have snapdocs.com and you wanted to filter on that particular vendor, it would show you any data that would be for that particular vendor. So you can use that particular filter on the spreadsheet also. And at the bottom it would show you that calculation for that particular filter. If you wanted to add additional rows to this spreadsheet on this particular tab, I do allow you to insert additional rows. So as this grows, you can add additional data, and it will automatically fill in the formulas for you. And that is our Invoices tab. And here we come to the January tab, and I wanted to first make sure that you input your beginning mileage for the year. So whatever that value is, you want to input it in this particular field here. And I put a bogus value of 37,000. And then as you scroll down this spreadsheet, we have the actual values that you would enter for each bucket of expenditure that you may have, airfare, office supplies, whatever it may be, you enter that into each specific row here. And just to make sure that you understand, you only want to enter the total amount for the month. So if you're entering this on a daily basis, you would have to total up the previous value and then add it to whatever you're adding to today's value. As you can see, if you scroll across, it will give you the total amount that you have for that particular value, and that's under the expenditures column to the right. At any point, you can pause this video. On this particular field, this is where you would enter your business miles, and please note this is not a calculated value or a dollar amount. It is a specific value that you would enter for the total business miles for any given month, and that value will be calculated on in another cell. So for this particular month, I entered 333 as the total business miles. Here I'm allowing you to put in additional categories that I may not have thought of. So I've got several unassigned columns that you may want to edit those fields. And if you change the unassigned to something that makes more sense to you, the spreadsheet will allow you to do that. Over here, we're on the income side, and as you can see, you have gross income, you have notarial income, and you have a taxable income column. So for example, if you've got $30 for 2 signatures, which would be your gross income, well, from a tax standpoint, from a self-employment tax standpoint, that $30 is considered to be non-taxable from a self-employment standpoint. So you put $30 in the notarial income column. But when you're doing a loan signing, you may have some dollars of that loan signing that are taxable. So if you have several loan signings that total, for example, $400 some odd, you would need to calculate the number of signatures that you can tabulate for that particular loan signing times the dollar amount that you capture for your state. And you would put that in the notarial income column. And the difference between those two values would be calculated in the taxable income column. So once again, this is for self-employment taxes purposes. And I am no tax professional, so you will definitely want to talk to a tax professional on what values you should enter in your tax rate and your federal tax rate. For my example, I entered 10% that I will set aside of my self-employment taxable income for state taxes. And for federal taxes, I entered a taxable amount of 20%. Now, these numbers will obviously change for you and your particular state. There are some states that don't have state income taxes, so that value for you would be 0 under the state income tax level. So once again, you're going to want to talk to a professional. And what I'm showing you here, I've got some values that are acceptable for this particular cell and some that are not. And if you hover over that cell, it will let you know what the acceptable values are. And that only needs to be entered once on the January tab, so that whatever your selected tax rate and your selected federal tax rate, that's only entered once. On this column, I'm just showing you how the calculations are done on a monthly basis. So any values that you had entered for January obviously calculated in this column. And on this row here, we're showing you how the calculation is made on your business mileage. So that 333 miles at 56 cents per mile totals this value that you see here in this particular row. And that calculation is done individually for each month. The state taxes, notice since you had a taxable income of approximately 333 bucks, since 10% of that is $33, that's what that value calculates at. Your federal tax rate would be $66, and the total of those would be $99. That would be your tax exposure for that month from a self-employment standpoint. And over here on this particular cell, what we're going to enter is whether or not you elected to pay any of those taxes during the month of January. The federal government will allow you to pay your federal self-employment taxes on a monthly basis if you decide to do that. However, they do want to make sure that you pay them on a quarterly basis. So if you elect to send them some dollars every month, you can enter that value in this particular cell. And please note that is a federal and tax calculation there. So I totaled the two of those together, and it came to $99. And here we just jump over to the year-to-date snapshot, and it shows you those values are being carried forward from that January spreadsheet. If I change that value from 99 to 45, once again, if we jump over to the year-to-date spreadsheet, that dollar amount is automatically updated, and it shows you the difference between what is due versus what you have paid. So I'm going to delete the 45 and make that a blank value again, and so we're back to square one. Here I'm just scrolling down through the other expenditures, and just wanted to show you how things are calculated moving forward on the February and February, March, and other spreadsheets. So as you can see on this particular spreadsheet, it will roll over any values from the previous month to the current month. And here we are on the end of year. I want you to make sure that when you get to December, you enter whatever the end of year mileage is on December 31st. And at this point, your spreadsheet will be able to give you a taxable amount of what is actually what you've actually gathered on a yearly basis from a business mileage standpoint. On the year-to-date roll-up tab, you could, after all the calculations have been done, you could print this particular spreadsheet out and hand this sheet to your tax professional, and that's all they would need, and you would have all the supporting data and the receipts, if necessary, that you could hand to your tax professional. So in summary, we've got the introduction or the instructions tab. We've got an invoice tab. We have months January through December. And we've got the year-to-date roll-up. I also allow you to print out the documents that you see here. Created a print summary view. So if you click on File, Print, it will allow you to print those documents out so you don't have to format them to print on any particular paper. As you can see here, we'll go over that overview of how you print things. You just go File, Print. It gives you a print preview, and this is what you would hand to your tax professional at the end of the year. And you would do the same thing if you wanted to print out each month. You would click on the month and then go to File, Print Preview, and it would print out whatever month you have focus at that particular time. And that pretty much wraps it up. This is the Exceptional Notary Business Spreadsheet. I hope you get a lot out of it. There was a lot of time put into creating a spreadsheet, and please let me know in the comments below whether or not you're having a good or bad experience with the spreadsheet. Thank you very much.